we shall now have the opportunity for silent prayers or meditation. Thank you. You may all be seated. Honorable members of the executive, honorable members of this august house, members of the staff, good morning and welcome to our sitting. Honorable members, maybe before we proceed with our business of the day, I would like to announce or maybe to remind members that today we are going to have two sessions. The first one will be our normally business of the day. And then after we adjourn with our sitting, we'll then continue with the launching of the caucus immediately. Thank you very much. Let's proceed with our program. Item 2. Are there any motions without notice in terms of House Rule 145? None. Any notices of motions in terms of House Rule 146? Thank you. Are there any statements by members in terms of Rule 200? None. Any executive statement? None. Any tabling of committee reports, other reports and papers? Also none. We proceed to item 7, orders of the day. Consideration and adoption of the following report of the Portfolio Committee on Sports, Arts and Culture. Committee Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me greet everybody who's here, honorable members, our Chief Whip, and those who joined through Teams. I'm Matlodi Caroline Marcella Rice before this August House to present 2021-2022 first quarter report for consideration and adoption.
Honorable Mahasela, I'm advised that maybe if you can come to the podium so that everyone, even those who join visually, can see you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'd like to greet everybody who's in the house, honorable members, our Chief Whip, and the honorable members who have joined through Teams. I, Matlodi Caroline Marcella, rise before this August House to present 2021-2022 first quarter report for consideration and adoption. I so move. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Mahasela. Any secondant? Honorable Selani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I, Honorable Chair Selani, here to second what Honorable Marcella has just said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We shall now refer to our speakers list. The first speaker on the list is Honorable Selani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, the Deputy Speaker in the absentia, the Chief Whip and the Deputy Chief Whip, the Chair of Chairs in his absentia, Honorable Premier in his absentia, leaders of the official opposition, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Sports, Arts and Culture, Mayor Mahlodi Karana Mahasela, honorable members of this majestic house, and protocol is observed. Honorable Speaker, it's quite unfortunate that when we wake up in the morning, we've been told that the rate of unemployment in this particular country is at 54.5, similarly to the Western Cape, and that is a debate for another day, which I think it will be scrutinized carefully. On the 11th to the 14th of November, Honorable Speaker, the Provincial Legislature sent a delegation to the 51st Conference of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association at Abuja in Nigeria. This Commonwealth Parliamentary Association was previously termed the Empire Parliamentary Association, as an organization that works to support good governance, democracy, and human rights. In 1989, Queen Elizabeth II led this institution and proposed that this Commonwealth Parliamentary Association should be hosted annually, and it must rotate amongst the head of the state and of government. In the same year, a structure called the Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians was established to increase the number of females elected representatives in parliament and legislature across the Commonwealth, and to ensure that women issues are brought to the fore in the parliamentary debate in legislation. This structure of women provides an opportunity to build capacity to women elected in parliament to be more effective in their roles, improving awareness and their ability as parliamentarians, particularly both males and females. Honorable Speaker, what are the observations which this delegation has made in that particular conference, but also with regard to that particular institution? It is important to make such critical appraisal, necessarily because this institution serves as a basis to create laws to uplift the socio-economic conditions of the Africans in particular, blacks in general. However, this structure remains a gentleman arrangement of some sort, because it does not include the youth who are active in the transformation agenda of the African Parliament. This structure is characterized by people who enjoy the luxury and comfort on behalf of the African people. It is quite unfortunate that the agenda of African unity and the transformation of Africa and the diaspora remains compromised because there is no political will at all to change the condition of the African people. Interestingly, Honorable Speaker, issues that must be placed on top of the agenda, such as cross-border laws, Refugees Act, free trade relation, security threat, xenophobia, are being compromised. And this, in essence, means...
Chair, maybe with due respect, I am tempted, Honorable Chair, maybe to ask you not to debate on the CPA, because it's a national matter.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thought I might just make a small synopsis.
We don't have a stand on that one, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Firstly, Honorable Speaker, we must appreciate and congratulate the HOD, the appointment of the HOD, Ms. Daphne Ramokopa, and the Chief of Staff, Moremo Kobal. The appointment is a living testimony that the struggle for gender equality amongst men and women of this particular country will be realized. It is only the ANC government and across the political diaspora capable of ensuring that women representation in all sectors of power is indeed realized. The experience and understanding of the political and administration interface demonstrated by these women will be extremely help the department to continue leading the attainment of clean audit. Honorable Speaker, we must secondly appreciate that the department is hard at work in ensuring the building of provincial state theatre. It was reported by the committee through our oversight work that the provincial theatre is on a planning, the provincial theatre planning is on a completed phase. The department has indicated that the professional service provider was appointed through the framework agreement in preparation for drawing bills of quantities and tender document. It is worth to note that the plans and design of the theatre is completed and allocation of land was facilitated by the Polokwane municipality. This showed that the department is committed to deliver service to our people. Hence, they reported that this particular project will be completed by 2024. Honorable Speaker, we must also note that COVID-19 has crippled us big time. Though COVID-19 cannot be used as an excuse in delivering service to our people, the building of the libraries by the department is of paramount importance. The completion of such building, such as Seleteng, is an important political milestone and an epitome of the commitment to serve our people with pride, necessary because we said we must lead with courage. These libraries must be urgently opened so as to avoid white elephant which is existing in our community without being maintained. We are, however, disappointed by the non-completion of certain libraries by the contractors because it affects the image of the department. These contractors who are tortoising must never be considered in the future project because they are failing the department in their responsibilities. However, we are delighted by the fact that the department is committed to work with the traditional leaders to solve the complex problems of completing libraries such as Mola Mola. The department has indicated that it will report back to the committee, given the nature and the degree, but also the extent of the problems which they are encountering. Honorable Speaker, fourthly, we have noted the responsibility and function of the digital department, particularly also with the provincial department. The committee has learned with the disdain that most of the stadiums are constructed, maintained, and controlled by the municipalities. The worry of this committee is that the stadium are incomplete, some of the stadiums are incomplete, dilapidated, and the responsibility with them lies with the municipality. We even wonder if these municipalities, throughout the allocated budget, use the budget effectively for construction and maintenance of those particular stadiums. Informed by the state of stadium in our province, one can conclude that the money allocated for construction and maintenance is prioritized for paying abnormal and exorbitant salaries of municipalities. Though the department through the MEC, Rahadi Anna Moraga, promised to engage with the department through Minimag and other programs to consider all these facts. Analogous to that effect, Honorable Chairperson, one of the several questions that want to answer is that why the control and the use of the libraries is under municipalities. But these libraries are constructed by the department through extension. Is it because this department is mostly led by young people and these young people are clueless about the budget? This department must be capacitated and given enough budget to overcome the challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequalities, like most of the department. These are some questions and which warrant good answers. We are confronted by this question as a collective, and there is a need for us to provide answers. It cannot continue to be like this, Honorable Speaker, because at the end of the day, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture care about the community in terms of sports, arts and culture. This must change, and change is the greatest element or characteristics of the leadership. Honorable Speaker, having noted or having considered and scrutinized the myriad of the problems which facing this particular department, the committee recommended the following: that there is a need for a concerted effort to improve the budget spending, that the regular budget meeting to be held monthly to improve payment processes and implement corrective actions where it is necessary. The moratorium of filling the vacant post should be lifted to enable the department to optimally perform its duties and function to avoid under expenditure. The department should request that the contractors must be placed on the strict terms and penalties to be applied regarding the construction and infrastructure project. The department should ensure that infrastructural projects move in a speed of a cheetah, if not a paraffin. All those targets not achieved during the first quarter should be given priority in the second quarter to avoid negative findings by the Auditor Generals and the Portfolio Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair. The next speaker is Honorable Mhlala.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Mhlala has reported that you'll be connecting on the visual, and we're expecting to connect on visual. If it's not connecting, then we can allow that debate to pass, and then we can submit the.
Yes.
Yes.
I was going to say that, Honorable Sishoke, because we have agreed that those who are going to form part of the debate should make sure that they come here physically to the chamber. That was agreed, and all political parties were represented. The decision is taken. So I'm going to pass. The third one, Honorable Pala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the progress on the long-standing incomplete project on the construction of the following libraries that commenced in 2018 by the end of June 2021 were as follows. Seletin Library was 95%, Runnymede Library 99%, Mulamula Library 57%, and Mabalane Library 72%. The practical completion inspection was conducted at Runnymede Library and Seletin Library, and the contractors have been working to the practical completion list. It was reported by the department that the Seletin Library achieved practical completion on 29 July 2021, and Runnymede Library practical completion was achieved in August 2021. Mabalane Library progress has improved since the contractor ceded some of the works to the stationery. Mulamula Library was once affected by the strikes, however, the issues were resolved. Honorable Speaker, the 30-day invoice payment should be a team effort by both the department and the service provider. The report outlined that the total of valid invoices paid within 30 days were at 99.9%. The outstanding 0.1% were not paid due to late submission of invoices by the service providers themselves. Although this was beyond the department control, as a committee, we recommended that continuous reminders should be sent to end users to submit all outstanding vouchers on time. Honorable Speaker, the quarterly target of performing one asset management reconciliation was achieved during the first quarter. Since the implementation of the RFID system, there has been no challenges regarding to assets, and the department has achieved an unqualified report in 2021 financial year. The department also took advantage of the National School of Government free online courses, and instead of implementing the one planned skill development intervention, they exceeded this target by implementing 6. On spot, the report outlined that on the number of athletes supported by the sport academics, the target for the first quarter of 21-22 was to support 100 athletes through the sport academics, and the department achieved this target. Further, it indicated that the department supported a total of 6 sport academics and consequently achieved its quarterly target. The department intended to train people to deliver on academy programs, and the target for the first quarter 21-22 was to train 10 people, and the department achieved this target. The report indicated that the department supported a total of 5 sport focus goals and consequently achieved its quarterly target. There were no planned target on the number of people trained as part of the club development program and the number of provincial programs implemented for the first quarter. Honorable Speaker, the department performed fairly well and achieved its target. Most unachieved targets were due to COVID-19 regulations that restricted most of the department's activities. Hopefully, as more people get vaccinated, the department will soon be able to achieve and deliver on its program mandates. Amongst other recommendations as a committee, we recommended that the department should request that contractors be placed on strict terms and penalties be applied regarding the construction of infrastructure projects. Implementation of this regulation should be prioritized. We further recommended that the department should ensure that progress on infrastructure moves in a speedy pace and that projects be completed on time. The department should furnish the committee with a report on the progress of Chitanga Dzimeni Heritage Site since the standard of the work from consultants was found wanting and reports on feasibility studies must still be improved. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Panel. Honorable Committee Chair, Honorable Mahasela.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Mayor Rosemary Mulapo, Honorable Premier in absentia, Stanley Chupmatabata, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Isop Mukonyana, Honorable members of the Executive Committee, and all honorable members in this August House, including those who joined through Teams. I greet you all and all protocol observed. Madam Speaker, during 1996 Olympic Games, Juan Antonio Samaranch said, open quote, "Sport is friendship, sport is health, sport is education, sport is life, and sport brings the world together." Quote closed. Honorable Speaker, allow me to congratulate the department and Honorable MEC Muraka for appointing a woman for an HOD position. I think they need to be given a hand of pam-pam. Thank you. Sport is an important part of the cultural and social life in the province. If ever one likes to play or observe sport, Limpopo has a busy sporting calendar with major events in football, netball, volleyball, rugby, and cultural activities taking place throughout the year. Whatever your taste, you will have the opportunity to watch or take part in a wide range of our respective activities. Madam Speaker, in administration, it was indicated that the 9 top risks were implemented during the first quarter and the annual target was consequently achieved. The department also managed to pay a total of 99% valid invoices within 30 days. The outstanding 1% was not paid due to late submission of invoices by service providers as a result of COVID-19 restrictions. A disbursement schedule for all payments have been distributed to all employees, members. As we congratulate the department by paying service providers in time, we must also normalize doing what is due for their clients. Most contractors have multiple clients. By not paying quickly, we are giving them reasons to do yours later and in a less focused time of their workday. Madam Speaker, if you are not paying promptly, then you are literally getting less value for the same money. Of course, it's worse if you plan to work with this contractor for more than 1 month on one project. By paving on time every time, you are signaling your interest in maintaining the relationship and building mutual trust. Honorable Speaker, in cultural affairs, we have realized that culture affects our every facet of life. Most societies these days have become multicultural as more and more people migrate across country and continents. We live around, socialize, and work with people from different cultural backgrounds and different parts of the world. So it is advisable that the departments must provide artists with business skills training to upskill them on compliance issues. Currently, the entire country has been enjoying lockdown house party organized by DJ Shimza. As the province, we must learn a few things from that so that we can host digital entertainment initiatives in partnership with SABC. Sorry, can I put on my mask? While partnering with SABC, we will be in better position to broaden our own views in order to attain harmony in this culturally diverse environment. When it comes to library and archive services, education efforts over several years have seen the positive involvement of libraries in education by offering their referral services, information and teaching resources, individual tutoring programs and education classes, besides their outreach to specific people's programs and educational classes. Besides, taken up now by libraries, alludes to their active, enhanced involvement in education, distribution of resource materials to institutions, including hospitals, prisons, homes of the disabled and aid, rehabilitation centers and groups with education-related problems, and adolescents involved in crime, unemployment, and the like, makes a visible impact on their education. Madam Speaker, during the 2020-21 annual performance plan, the department indicated that 4 new public libraries are under construction in Ranimed, Mavalani, Mlamula, and Selitin, and they were on phase 2 during that time, during 2020-2021 financial year. The construction is slow. It is at a slow pace because even the committee recommended that oversight visit the 4 libraries construction project. The construction of the following libraries commenced in 2018 by library infrastructure projects were upheld in March 2020. And I've already, mentioned the 4 libraries. When it comes to school, sport, and recreation, Madam Speaker, we welcome the support made by the department by supporting the 100 athletes with medical screening from netball, volleyball, rugby, football, fencing, and athletics with the following: general medical assessment, cardiac assessment, musculoskeletal examinations, and electrocardiogram. As procedural committee requested the department to furnish it with names and number of athletic benefited from the grant. Further, requested clarity on why only 83 athletes benefited instead of 196, and an indication of the date when the payments will be effected. Resolutions. Honorable Speaker, South Africa's Department of Sports, Arts and Culture announced a relief fund of 150 million for artists, athletes, and technical personnel, and the core ecosystem that support them. The coronavirus pandemic has sent thousands and plunged the global economy into what the International Monetary Fund wants could be the sharpest downturn since the Great Depression. Not surprisingly, COVID-19 has also upended the sporting calendar, with professional leagues everywhere suspending their activities to limit the spread of the virus. Even the Summer Olympics, typically one of the world's most watched sporting broadcasts, has been pushed back a year. As we all know that this is the government of the people by the people, the portfolio committee met and resolved shockwaves around the world, leading to a public health emergency that has killed those affected artists that need to be paid. Unfortunately, it was reported that some of the officials sorted themselves with government spares. As part of the recommendation, the committee mandated the department through their risk office to identify officials who applied for the COVID-19 relief fund to be named and brought to book. It is a given that sport for social development is a method of bringing about social change. Through the use of sport and play are used as tools for peace and development. It is recommended that there should be serious collaboration with social development and provide sports, equipment, and facilities to support disadvantaged communities, homeless shelters, and the elders. In close-up, Honorable Speaker, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's a very famous English proverb. We all have heard it, and at least once in a lifetime. Sport is a very critical part of everyone's life, which helps the participants to learn various virtues like teamwork, coordination, and also helps to keep the body strong and healthy. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee on Sports, Arts and Culture, I move that this report be adopted and by this august House. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mahasana. We shall now call the Honorable MEC for Sports to come and respond to the debate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to the members of this august House and the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, including my colleagues in the Executive Council. Speaker, I'm pleased to acknowledge the inputs as made here by honorable members of this Portfolio Committee. And I want to assure members that all their inputs are being well received by the department, and we are making an undertaking here that all these issues of sport infrastructure in our municipalities is going to be given the necessary attention they deserve, because you know this is a prerogative of the National Ministry of Sport, Arts and Culture. Where we are as a province, we have taken stock of the state of our sport facilities in the province, and we are going to go to MINMEC and present a compelling case to the minister to say the MIG grant that is given to municipalities for this sport infrastructure maintenance and also for them to erect these facilities must then be given to the department, because municipalities, when they are given this allocation, national other service delivery related issues at the expense of our people in the sector of sports and recreation. So this is an issue, Speaker, that is receiving the necessary attention. And in the coming week, we'll have a MINMEC where the minister will receive a report from Limpopo. And I believe other colleagues in other provinces are also faced with similar challenges like what we are observing in the province. And we believe colleagues will then agree with us that the allocation for MIG grant for sports and recreation infrastructure facilities must then be redirected to the department so that the issues that are raised by members can then be attended to without fail. Honorable Speaker, the concern as raised by honorable members on the lack of clarity with regard to libraries that are not yet complete. I need to put it in proper context here, Honorable Speaker, that libraries that honorable members are mentioning here are almost complete. I'm speaking here about Seleting Library that has been completed. And even 2 weeks back, Honorable Speaker, we had made a commitment to go there and hand over this facility to our communities. But we couldn't proceed because there were stakeholders that felt that the handing over of a library can't proceed before we could change the name Seleting Library to something else that is going to be in line with the heritage of the people of Limpopo. So I'm just citing that issue, Honorable Speaker, so that members can then understand that the issue now is beyond us, because where we are, we've built the facility. Now we are stuck in the process of renaming that facility. And when we engaged with the municipality, they have made a commitment to us that we need to prioritize service delivery to our communities. The naming or the renaming process can then happen after, when the facility is being utilized by our communities. And I think we are starting to find each other in that part of the province, in the Limpopo. And I believe in the coming quarter of the fourth quarter, Speaker, the Library of Seleting will be handed over to the communities so that they can develop their children academically. We are also going to hand over Runnymede Library because it was also completed. It's just that there were some challenges with the roof that was leaking, because over the past 2 weeks we have experienced heavy rains. It then tells us that the contractor who was on site did not do diligence on the issue of monitoring the work by the contractors. And I believe, Chair, where we are as a department, the contractor must then be held responsible with regard to this shoddy work, and they must correct their mistake so that Runnymede Library can then be handed over to our communities. With regard to Mavalani, also, we are about to complete the construction. And I believe members of the portfolio committee have undertaken an oversight visit to that facility. They are well aware that we are ready where we are as a department to hand it over to our communities. The only issue, Chair, Speaker, with regard to the library that I believe we are not registering progress is on Mola. And the issues there, as raised by honorable members, is not within the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. It's around issues of traditional leadership dispute in that area of Mola. And I've been engaging with MEC Magamu so that we can engage with the community of Mola and make them to realize that the issue of the traditional leadership dispute should not happen at the expense of our people, because where we are, we must prioritize the development agenda in that part of the province, so that whilst they address the issue of the traditional leadership dispute, our children can also be benefiting from this service delivery related issue of a library that is going to change the lives of our children for the better. Honourable Speaker, on the matters that concerns asset management, I fully agree with Honourable Phala that the department has also managed to improve on its audit opinion by Auditor General of South Africa, necessarily because where we are able to account for all the assets that are there within our libraries. And we believe the matters with the RFID system are going to be attended to by the provincial treasury so that we don't go back and regress on the audit finding by Auditor General, because we want to move the department towards clean audit. Honourable Speaker, on the issue of the theatre, I believe members are agreeing with us as a department that even the Premier has prioritized the theatre. It is a standing item in our exco. The Premier wants to receive progress on this long awaited theatre for our people or in the creative industry in the province for it to be constructed. Where we are busy with the planning and the designs, and I'm going to be meeting with MEC Dr. Masemola so that we can expedite the issue of planning and designs so that the actual construction work can start to happen in earnest. Honourable Speaker, on the issue of the 30 days payment policy, we all agree with the consensus of members that once we delay payment to these service providers, we must know that we are also frustrating our SMMEs because they depend on those payments for them to can be able to run their companies. And I believe this is an issue that happened in the past before we could stabilize our finance unit. I'm pleased to report here in this August House that we have managed to appoint a CFO who's from time to time looking at these issues. And I believe this is going to be a challenge of the past going forward. We are also going to advertise other critical positions within finance so that we can be able to address all the concerns as raised by honorable members. The issue of equity, Speaker, you know very well that even the Office of the Premier is watching the department.
1 minute left.
The department must then comply with matters concerning equity. Where we have vacancies in the department, we are going to make it a point that we prioritize our women, our youth, those that are having expertise in those fields, and we make it a point that we comply with equity issues. Honourable Speaker, the corruption that happened at the National Arts Council has got nothing to do with the province of Limpopo. Where we are as a province, we have managed to adjudicate for the COVID-19 relief fund for our people in the creative industry, and there were never reports that indicated that there were elements of maladministration within that process. But the issue of NAC, the minister, I believe, is dealing with it because even those resources at the national level, they were meant to benefit our artists and not our officials. Speaker, I want to thank the members and assure them that they will get all the reports that they asked for in due course as we interact with them going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Item 7.2, consideration and adoption of the following reports of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development. Committee Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. As duly mandated and authorized by the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Isaiah Mabogatra Messina Masokame, that on behalf of the portfolio committee, I present the reports of the portfolio committee on agriculture and rural development for consideration and adoption. It's the 2021-2022 first quarter report.
Thank you. Any seconder? Honorable Appeal.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to second the motion as presented by Honorable Martin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Proceed, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and members of this August House. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development, I hereby, as duly authorized and mandated, hereby present the oversight visit report to Nojax Tomato Paste Plant in Greater Tzaneen Municipality for consideration and adoption.
Thank you. Any seconder? Honorable Son.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I, Mashibe Rebecca Son, I rise to second the motion as tabled by Honorable Matt. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Son. Chair.
Thank you once again, Honorable Speaker. I present the oversight visit report on behalf of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development. Oversight report to Green Life Vegetables Project, Mabunda Citrus Project, and Masala for Citrus and Vegetable Pack Houses that was undertaken on the 9th of September 2021 for consideration and adoption.
Thank you very much. Any seconder? Honorable Muchabi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And greetings to all members in the August House. I, Sukutu Monica Muchade, rise to second the presentation of the report for adoption by the duly mandated Honorable Honorable Mate by the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Muchabi. Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development, I hereby present a report on the briefing session by the Limpopo Regional Land Claims Commission that was held on the 8th of September 2021 in this for this August out for consideration and adoption. I thank you so much.
Honorable Chair. Oversight visit to Infahari.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker, it's I think obviously old age education with some of us and the consistent distractions from Honorable MJ or J something. I'm not sure whether it's a shock or a button. but obviously, I want to present the oversight visit report on behalf of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development. The oversight visit was for Hayami Vegetable Project and Raliputsu Vegetable Cooperative Project around Palavoro Municipality for the August House, to the August House for consideration and adoption. Thank you very much.
Any seconder? Honorable Sedan? No.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I, Chair Selani, here to second everything which Honorable Mata Simon has just presented to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sedan. Honorable Chair, you may come and present the last one.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to present the report on the briefing session by the Limpopo Regional Claims Commission, which was held on the 8th of September 2021 in this Augusta House for consideration and adoption.
Thank you. Any seconder? Honorable Salam.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I here to second what has been presented by Honorable Matt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We shall now refer to the speakers list. Our first speaker on the list is Honorable Monica Mchadi, our Deputy Chief Whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Premier, Honorable Premier Stanley Juguma Tabati in absentia. The Deputy Speaker, Wondo in absentia, Chief Whip of the Legislature, Chair of Chairs in absentia, Deputy Chair of Chairs, members of the Executive Committee, all honorable members who are attending on virtual, I greet you all in the name of Jesus. Honorable Speaker, I'm still opening my gadget. Please pardon me. Madam Speaker, when we meet different agricultural sectors, the issue of land restitution always come up. People ask us about land being taken away from agriculture and the failure of post-settlement farms. Most of the time, my response will be always that all of us within the sector need to work together. We need to make sure that agriculture is taken care and is sustainable. Members, as procedural orders of the legislature of the Limpopo province, as adopted on 28 February 2017, the Portfolio Committee of Agriculture and the Rural Development was briefed by the Limpopo Regional Land Commission on success and challenges faced by the Commission. So far on 8 September 2021, the Commission
on restitution of land rights received a number of land claims from different regions across the province in respect of properties on vast areas of Capricorn, Mopani, Vembe, Sikukune, and Waterberg. The land claim was lodged in the prescribed manner as per the Restitution of Land Rights Act 22 of 1994, Restitution Act, which entitled a person or community dispossessed of a right in land after 19 June 1913 as a result of past discriminatory laws and practice to restoration of the right or equitable redress. Honorable members, there's a serious challenge in regard to the light of the way that the process had been handled up to now. It would be impossible to meet the land claim deadlines, even if all landowners were willing sellers. Only a small percentage of land claims have been published in the government gazettes. And after publication, less than 11% of Limpopo's land claims have been completed, and Limpopo is way back. Tried by all means to restitute those lands, but ahead of the rest, it has pushed most of the lands which have been restituted, like the Makhuba land. Agricultural produce support and development. The department indicated that 262 instead of targeted 350 farmers were trained on CASP, exceeding the target of 150. Because additional farmers were trained in response to a critical need of ensuring farmer compliance with water rights regulations, which is a problem, the water rights for most of the farmers in the province. Madam Speaker and honorable members, on issue of unemployment, we can't keep quiet. Unemployment has a significant psychological impact on the youth of our province or of our country at large. It is possible for a young man to be affected by psychological disorders such as depression and anxiety because of the ambiguity of the future and the feeling of uselessness or loss of furthermore. This is a problem which we must really put and take care of. As the portfolio committee, we feel it's worrisome to see our young people qualified with agricultural qualifications, but they are unemployable. However, the department could only place 8 instead of 120 unemployed graduates on agricultural enterprises for practical skills development. The challenges which are faced here, the portfolio committee appreciated the efforts the commission has displayed in providing redressing to victims of previous racial-based land dispossessions. Among the many challenges that the Limpopo Regional Land Claim Commission highlighted, it seems that production failures on land reform farms have led the department to fall back and on old elites and traditional leaders to control CPAs, because CPAs are uncontrollable. CPAs, they are a law on themselves, and that's why they fail all the restituted lands. The failure are not due to human incapacity. They are caused by systemic designs, faults, and the massive manipulation and looting of the land reform budget and process. Honorable members, to succeed, farmers need to secure land rights and control over their resources, including water rights. I re-emphasize this because it's a serious problem for our farmers. Madam Speaker, the department default choice of tribal control and ownership of land is a recipe for continuing corruption and rights abrogation. Thus far, constitutional powers of expropriation have not been used in pursuit of land redistribution. Instead, a policy choice has been made to follow a willing buyer, a willing seller approach based on voluntary sales. Land redistribution has proceeded at a low and uneven pace over the past years, with fluctuations both in budget and scale of land being acquired and redistributed. Madam Speaker, it's quite disturbing to realize that the latest redistribution strategy plus, which does not allow for transfer of land ownership to beneficiaries, and in the absence of long-term leases, leaves beneficiary land tenure rights insecure. Without clear and secure land tenure rights, land redistribution beneficiaries struggle to get production support from State Department. The recommendation which the Portfolio Committee are bringing on the table is that the Portfolio Committee of Agriculture and Rural Development, having been briefed by the Limpopo Regional Land Claim Commission, noted that a lot of funds have been invested on land claims, but to returns and restored land get vandalized. Some, they are even given back to the wives who were using it, they lease it back instead of production being enhanced. The Limpopo Regional Land Claim Commission must improve its relationship with the Limpopo Department of Agriculture and Rural Development to ensure that restored agricultural land remain productive to maintain economic growth and job opportunities. Madam Speaker, the LRCC and the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development must explore the possibility of relaxing the powers and autonomy of the CPS to ensure that the department remain involved in the affairs of the farms which are restituted to ensure sustainability, economic growth, and job opportunities. The Portfolio Committee will continue to engage with the Limpopo Restitution Land Commission and to conduct oversight visit to restore and hand over land and farms. Madam Speaker, the Portfolio Committee, having been briefed by the department and having considered and scrutinized the 2021-2022 first quarter financial and performance report of Limpopo Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, made the following recommendations. The department must at all costs prevent delays by contractors on agricultural infrastructure in projects such as crop, livestock, irrigation schemes. The department must put in place strong monitoring and enforcement of contractual agreement to ensure timely completion of all the projects. The department must always reach its target, since the Portfolio Committee will no longer accept COVID-19 reasons as a delay by contractors as reason for the department not to achieve its targets. The department must assist farmers with acquisition of water rights, certificates to comply with legislation. The department must ensure consequence of management on officials who proved poor performance, particularly on issues raised in the previous committee resolution. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the ultimate aim of providing support to land reform project is to contribute towards creating active, sustainable rural development communities that have access to healthy food and decent employment opportunities. What is clear is that land redistribution is moving in contradictory direction. On the one hand, government is entering in costly venture to acquire high-value land and conclude deals with strategic partners to run commercial farms and associated processing facilities. In the name of
Honorable Muchadi.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. I support the move for the adoption of the Portfolio Committee Oversight Report presented for the land claim. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, Honorable Sishoka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to greet all members present here and those that have joined on the visual platform. Honorable Speaker, in line with the Constitution of the country and the standing rules and orders of the Legislature of Limpopo, the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development embarked on oversight visit to Mopani project to assess successes and challenges of government-funded projects. Ideally, the agricultural support to mainly emerging farmers or previously disadvantaged farmers remain the core business of the department in redressing the reality and the past imbalances of the apartheid government that massively supported white farmers only. The Department of Agriculture, under the ANC government, instead of supporting our farmers, it continued to set our farmers to fail by half-cooked funding. Our farmers are generally not fully funded. Some of the projects take time to be completed. Farmers who are supported are either given infrastructure or production inputs. In the case where production input are provided, it will be once-off support, which does not make any agricultural business sense. Honorable Speaker, this department is now seen as, in most cases, to be the department that dispenses funds without value for money. Hence, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, irregular expenditure, and unauthorized expenditure are rife in this department. It is only under the ANC government that the departmental senior officials are rewarded with bonuses for dispensing funds to farmers without meaningful impact on the ground. This is attributed by the incapacity of the ANC government to deploy credible MECs and HOD to department. Honorable Speaker, on the Norjas tomato paste plant oversight. Honorable Speaker, this is one of the disastrous and heartbreaking projects. The project is situated in Police Industrial Area under Tzaneen Municipality. This tomato processing plant is 51% owned by a group of African tomato growers under Apple, partnered with a white-owned new tech company owning 49% of the Norjas tomato paste plant. In 2009, the department bought shares to amount of 51% of the plant on behalf of the tomato growers from the new tech company to a tune of 17 million. This transaction, Honorable Speaker, happened without a close supervision by the department. As of now, the department cannot produce contract or certificate of shareholding between the Apple and the new tech. Worse to this situation, the shares do not include the land the plant operates. This is the department that dispenses funds without looking at the value for investment. Honorable Speaker, in simple terms, the Department of Agriculture in Limpopo paid 17 million to a white-owned company, which, without check and balances. What a fruitless and wasteful expenditure by government of the old liberation movement. The MEC and the HOD of this department sees no wrongdoing in purchasing this investment on a land that owned by a white man, because the ANC government worship whiteness in this country. Due to poor support system by the department, the company started to experience problem of cash flows in 2010, and there was also strong competition from the Chinese who produced the same product at a low cost. In 2015, when the plant was not working properly, the farmers approached the department for assistance with the repair of the plant, mainly the evaporator of the system. An amount of 95 million was injected to the project by the department to import the whole process plant of capacity of 700 tons of tomatoes per day, compared to what was initially the capacity of 350 tons of tomato per day. The question that comes to my mind is, where will the black farmers get 700 tons of tomatoes to service this plant? If this is not a fruitless and wasteful expenditure, how does the MEC explain this? Honorable Speaker, the plant remains a white elephant to date after it was commissioned last year, 2020, because the specification did not include the chiller, which needs to be imported from Italy as well. Whereas the system was installed without checking the electricity transformer, that is also an additional cost. It is reported that for the plant, to be operational, an additional of 41 million is required, and the department does not, it was done by the department. For that, we commend the MEC, the HOD, and the department. However, the beneficiaries are complaining about the cost of electricity and the gravel road from the farm to the main road, which affect the quality of the citrus when the delivery of this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Kidibun, Honorable Lebea.
Honorable Speaker, it was from one richly gifted mind that said, and I quote, "Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds," close quotes. That was Albert Einstein. And Honorable Seshok, he who alleges must prove. And the Honorable Premier is still running a tight ship sailing in the right direction. And until that time you become a government, we'll wait for your own HODs and MECs. But currently, the African National Congress is doing very well. The Speaker, Honorable Premier Stanley Mathabata in absentia, honorable members of this August House, and those who are connected on the virtual platform, blessed morning to you. Honorable Speaker, the sitting takes place in the midst of the outbreak of the coronavirus B11.529, which has been labeled the Omicron variant by the World Health Organization and classified as a variant of concern and an unmatched humanitarian disaster ever seen in the 21st century. Equally, Speaker, the month of December is known as the World AIDS Month in the world. And when a developing country like South Africa is faced with this unforgiving pandemics, taking into account the current economic dispensation of the country, the unpalatable levels of unemployment, poverty, and inequality, it's quite clear that we need a radical solution to address this inherent, rigid, stringent, and inexorable status quo. This quickly throttled my mind, Honorable Speaker, that implementation of the Freedom Charter will not be an easy task to some, as this will unleash a catastrophic, well-orchestrated effort and push back from the owners of the means of production. But to those who are entrusted with these responsibilities, we are saying to you, and I quote, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." Close quote. That was Nelson Mandela. Honorable Speaker, as honorable members of this August House, representing the aspirations and wishes of the millions of the people of the province, we have a commitment that we should not falter in discharging our mandate of improving their livelihoods. This duty is delegated on us by millions of people who still see the African National Congress as the only organization that must provide them with a better life. Honorable Speaker, protocol dictates that the department should brief the Portfolio Committee on its 2021-2022 first quarter financial and performance report of the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for consideration. This has been done, Honorable Speaker, and members will ensure that we continue playing our oversight role over the department with diligence. The department focused on key strategic priorities which are aligned to the new growth path, National Development Plan, and medium-term strategic framework. This is Program 1, its purpose is to manage and formulate policy directives and priorities and to ensure that there are appropriate support services to all other programs regarding strategic management, finance, personnel, information, communication, and procurement. And on senior management sub-program on security management services, there were 5 security threat risk assessment reports compiled, while on corporate services sub-program, 1 human resources plan was conducted as planned. Meanwhile, on financial management sub-program, the department submitted 1 financial statement as per plan. And on program 2, the purpose of the program is to provide agricultural support services to farmers to ensure sustainable development and management of natural agricultural resources. The department reported that it did establish 3 agricultural infrastructures which were not planned for the quarter under review. This was because the completion of this project was scheduled for 2020-2021 financial year, but there were delays due to slow progress on part of the contractors. And on program 3, the program is support to all farmers through agricultural development programs. Then the department further indicated that 262 instead of targeted 350 farmers were trained on CASPs, exceeding the target of 150, because this is due to the reason that additional farmers were trained in response to a critical need of ensuring farmer compliance with water rights regulations. Honorable Speaker, poverty remains the biggest threat to human dignity, and its eradication is vital for development. Poverty should not be treated as merely a developmental project. The agenda must include provisions of all such basic amenities like safe drinking water, adequate nutrition, educational facilities, and etc. Poverty has to be eradicated through the process of youth empowerment. Furthermore, the department must upscale and support youth in farming projects such as citrus, vegetables, forestry, and red and white meat, chicken feed, and houses. Furthermore, it is our understanding that the sector must be adequately transformed, Honorable Speaker, in that as the African National Congress-led government will be radically addressing the challenges as penned in the National Democratic Revolution. The Portfolio Committee was more concerned about delays on farmer support projects such as crop, livestock projects and irrigation projects because this prevents farmers from producing and making financial income. These have been recurring for the past 3 or more financial years. The slow progress of work by contractors continues to impact negatively on agriculture infrastructure projects implementation. And the Portfolio Committee noted with regret that the department is still blaming delays by contractors in achieving some of its target. And as a Portfolio Committee, we wish to send a clear and stern message to the department that set targets must be adequately achieved, since the Portfolio Committee will no longer accept COVID-19 and delays by contractors as a reason for the department not to achieve some of its target. Honorable Speaker, allow me to speak on food security as a solution to triple challenges. The view of the African National Congress remains that land is the answer to poverty. Inequality and unemployment has no basis in reality. Reducing hunger and malnutrition and improving food security have come to the forefront of the global political agenda. Food security remains a priority for all nations. However, Limpopo, with its huge and growing population, faces a particular challenge. Although the committee applauds the intervention made by the department on number of hectares cultivated for food production in communal areas and land reform projects, as the committee will further encourage the increased support to farmers on irrigable land. Honorable Speaker, however, notwithstanding these challenges, we are aware that the results of fighting some of these challenges, we are also pointing to the reality that in spite of the package of intervention it was made to date, our agricultural system still needs a lot of attention. And as I conclude, Honorable Speaker, let me borrow from one of the great minds to ever cross the side of heaven, and I quote, "We base our struggle on the concrete realities of our country. We appreciate the experiences and achievements of other people, and we study them. But revolution or national liberation is like a dress which must fit each of individual's body. Naturally, there are certain general or universal laws, even scientific laws, for any condition, but the liberation struggle has to be developed according to the specific condition of each country." Close quote. That was Amilcar Cabral. But thousands of people in South Africa already live with food insecurity and are now further at risk from potential job losses, loss of income, or reduced food production and trade. Decisive action in the immediate term can help to ensure that South Africa's agricultural and food system are strengthened, not just for the duration of the pandemic, but for the longer term. Let each and every one of us rise to the task of making Limpopo a better province. It is through unity in action that our vision, our ANC manifesto, our hope and dreams will be realized. And I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Lebeya. Honorable Smile.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and good afternoon to the members as well as the members of the Executive. Honourable Speaker, as the year comes to the end, one continues to realise the importance of the agricultural sector in as far as it has consistently created jobs. During the last quarter under review, the agriculture across our province created 11,000 more jobs compared to the same period in 2020. At 6.2% towards the national GDP, agriculture is the second largest sector nationally and contributes 2.1% towards the Limpopo GDP, which is well below average against the national norm. As part of the portfolio oversight mandate, the committee embarked on several oversight visits, Norjack's tomato plant, Inteliami and Ralapucha project, and Felipe Mabunda citrus and Masalal. When evaluating the performance of support given to these support projects, especially by professional staff, it is clear that there are some staff who cares for the success of these projects as if it is their own. The appreciation expressed by the beneficiaries are sincere and one of full gratitude. The same cannot always be said by the department. Funding of the Norjack's tomato plant at an initial investment of 17.9 million, as well as the partnership with Italy, only to find out that should any technical difficulties hamper the project, no one locally can assist this project and support must be given from Italy. Investing into a plant which the property is not owned by the beneficiaries is counterproductive to what the needs is to be achieved. Noting that none of the local tomato manufacturers has benefited from the project in the last 6 years as the plant is not operational. The lease on the plant has resulted in further stalemates by the owners. There is a need by the department to urgently intervene with reference to land ownership in order to save the project, but in doing so, it will overinvest in this project. Operational cost of around 3 million rand is needed to kickstart the business model, and the Democratic Alliance believes that leaders should play a financial role by doing a financial risk assessment followed by a possible loan application. Current delays in the plant have hampered the tomato production in the area, as well as the cost to local farmers. The 4 other projects, as well as the citrus projects, major challenges will be around the securement of water licenses to increase productions in those specific areas. Both the department on a provincial level as well as a national level must start the very difficult debate around how we are going to secure more water rights to these upcoming farmers. Circuit farming and beneficiaries becoming that move from small-scale farmers to a more independent commercialized farming unit. Most of these projects are now giving stable work to between 6 to 12 people, as well as enabling themselves to improve their own livelihood and to access farming markets. Western Cape Agriculture has recognized the current need for nutritious, affordable and sustainable food supply and is currently funding the Green Hands Community Food Garden projects on the West Coast. The volunteers are mostly women, and the grant provides for irrigation, fencing, water tanks, garden tools, and production inputs such as seedlings, fertilizing compost, and containers for storage. These types of initiatives curtails householder hungers of those who are finding themselves in dire financial constraints. An inclusive meeting with strong regulations on the future of water rights and the support towards small-scale farming is desperately needed. Conventional electricity has also become too costly for remote small-scale farming, and other more productive costs should be evaluated, such as solar energy, to support these enthusiastic small-scale farmers. Our farmers and their employees are national assets. They continue to produce the agricultural commodities that provide our people in South Africa with food, clothing, and other day-to-day necessities. The agricultural sector across our province deserves the support and protection of local, provincial, and national governments. Land restitutions has showed that land distribution has failed due to the lack of the necessary resources, the lack of access to farming machinery, production training afforded to beneficiaries, and the awarding of title deeds. We also call on the MEC to fast track many of these outstanding title deeds that our current successful small-scale farmers are farming on, and they need to title deeds. They cannot continue to wait for government support, but with their own title deeds, they will be able to access economic and financial markets on their own. And they have proven that they can do so. Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Usman. Honorable Mate, the acting chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Chief Whip, the days of Mohoyan, members of the Executive Council present here today, members of the Provincial Legislature present here today, and of course, members of staff and everybody, members that have joined this sitting through various platforms, YouTube, Teams, so on and forth. I want to take this opportunity to greet you all. But before I proceed with what I'm supposed to do, I also want to greet the Premier of this province in absentia, Honorable Stanley Chupumatawat, who is our Premier. He is our Premier, and that becomes my emphasis. But he might not be a Premier to others because they are still dreaming about government in waiting. Now, maybe they will have their own Premier in that government in waiting that will come probably around 2063. Yeah, you're good in insulting people, but not good at what do I look handsome. Very handsome. Madam Speaker, I'm humbled about the fact that we debate in the 150th year of our late revolutionary mother of the nation, Mutlokwa, Mama Charlotte Mateke, who paved the way for our freedom. In one of her favorite speeches, Mama Charlotte Mateke once said, "This work is not for yourselves. Feel that spirit of self and do not live above your people, but live with them. If you can rise, bring someone with you." Honorable members, these wise words of Mama Charlotte Mateke remind us of the task ahead, which is to protect the fundamental right to dignity of all our people and to guarantee them a decent life. As government, we understand that there is no true freedom as long as poverty still exists amongst us. In the spirit of Mama Charlotte Mateke and other stalwarts who fought for this freedom, and as government of the people, we echo their spirit that as long as our people's freedom is sustained, they shall rise above poverty, which is why we have declared poverty as our #1 enemy against the people. In this House, members have debated unemployment figures and have also reflected on the issue of food insecurity. All honorable members agree that agriculture is one of the most important sectors in terms of job creation and ensuring food security. Accordingly, as Limpopo province, we have undertaken to embark on the agriculture revolution. We have planned to intervene to stimulate the growth of the entire agriculture industry. The Portfolio Committee noted with concern that during 2021, fourth quarter, there were underachievements in the following highlighted areas: agricultural infrastructure establishment, green jobs creation, as well as the land care training and awareness sessions. The department reported that 9 instead of 5 disaster risk reduction programs were managed. The additional warnings were issued and awareness conducted on flood hazard due to the Elias tropical cyclone that occurred during the late summer season. It is indicated that 1 disaster relief scheme was managed and 60 farmers were assisted through that scheme. And we appreciate that. And we remain confident as government of Limpopo that we will always respond and heed the calls that have been made by our people when they are confronted by natural challenges or disasters. Madam Speaker, infrastructure leads to expansion of markets, economies of scale, and improvement in market operations. The development of rural infrastructure helps to enlarge markets with greater access to various sectors of production. Rural infrastructure, like other public investments, raises agricultural productivity, which in turn induces growth in the rural areas, bringing about higher agricultural wages and improved opportunities for farm laborers. Madam Speaker, the department indicated that 82 students graduated from their agricultural training colleges, exceeding the target of 80. And normally when a target is exceeded, or maybe to put it in simpler terms so that my honorable friend, Honorable Soshoka, would have a better understanding, is that when you write an examination, if the total mark is 100, and when you obtain 98 or 100 flat, that is distinction. And above 100, it's super distinction. So the department in this regard obtained a distinction because they've surpassed the target of 8. Furthermore, 61 in state of 100 agriculture, higher education and training learners were registered in the 2 colleges for 2021. The shortfall was due to delayed experience in the completion of the 2020 academic year, and as a result, the registration for 2021 academic year was still ongoing at Tombiselega Agricultural College. The portfolio committee, which amongst others, Honorable Soshoga is a member of, appreciated that 199 participants were trained in agricultural skills and development programs, exceeding target of 100, since more participants turned out for training. Instead of 100, the department trained 199, and the portfolio committee, including Honorable Soshoka, appreciated that. The department had planned to assist 40 producers to access markets, but 32 were assisted, since fewer producers requested market linkages support due to uncertainties around COVID-19. The department further reported that 567 agribusiness were supported with production economic services, thereby falling short of the target of 1,000. The underachievement was agribusiness information days, value chain workshops, and demonstrations could not be held due to impact of COVID-19 restrictions on mass gatherings. And if it was not because of those restrictions, the department could have achieved the targeted 1,000. Since agriculture employs many people, it contributes to economic development, and as a result, the income level as well as people's standard of living will always derive from this sector. Madam Speaker, we recall that on the 18th of September 2020, one of my first visits outside of Makado, the Mara Research Council farm, after the devastating corruption happened. The estimated damage to the center was plus minus 1.57 million, losses of over 100 cattle. We acknowledge officials, and as much as we acknowledge officials and technicians who came together and help each other to recover some of the lost livestock. Their commitment in working hard can be, and their work, and commitment for their work, can be an example for all of us in the province. The portfolio committee recommends that accounting officer must on regular basis account the portfolio committee on the theft of livestock, laptops, desktop investigations, and appropriate action must be taken.
A point of order. Honorable Speaker, I'm raising on a point of order because the member who's presenting here, instead of presenting on the reports that have been presented here, is busy entertaining the fourth quarter report, which was last presented. So that is what was held in the fourth quarter report, not the first quarter, or the oversight that has been said. So having listened to him, I hear him listening him, and then he's been talking about things that we have already passed them. So I think we need to call him to order so that he can focus on what was presented today.
Can you proceed, Honorable Max? Honorable Sugar, while a member is on platform during the debate, we are not allowed to interject him. So is the MEC who will respond on the matters that is raising? Can you allow him to proceed?
Honorable Speaker, I'm going to allow.
No, you are not allowed to comment on the debate that Honorable Mate is making. You are not allowed, Honorable Sugar. It is not your role.
But no one has ever said it's my role. I'm raising on a point of order. I was raising on a point of order, Honorable Speaker. I was not debating. I was raising on a point of order that, if you listen to his debate, he's talking about things that are falling under fourth quarter report.
What I'm saying is that you are not allowed to comment on the debate.
I'm not commenting. I'm raising on a point of order, which is allowed by the rules of this House.
You are commenting, Honorable Shaw.
I'm not commenting, I'm raising a point of order, and that is why I'm asking for your ruling. And if you are to rule that I'm out of order, then you should rule as such.
Yes,
But you can't be saying I'm commenting or debating. I'm raising on a point of order. I'm raising on a point of order, and I must be respected as such.
You are out of order.
Thanks for your. Sorry.
I'm saying sit down. You are out of order.
Thanks for your inconsistency, Madam Speaker.
Can you proceed, Honorable Mati? Proceed, Honorable Mati. Honorable Mati.
We will not be told or be taught as to how we should debate. Where the department did good things, we will talk about them every day because that is the good story to tell. Wait for 2063 and you will speak about your good story. The only thing that you know is to misunderstand handsome people and claim that they're not handsome. That is the only thing you're good at. As highlighted by the President, yes, as highlighted by the President Cyril Ramaphosa during SONA 2021, when he said that despite COVID-19, South Africa's agricultural sector has performed remarkably well. In 2020-2021 financial year, we became the world's second largest exporter of citrus, with strong export growth in wine, maize, nuts, and sugarcane. Honorable Premier and MEC, let's settle down the good relationship we are having with the Zebedela citrus estates by visiting time to time to ensure and reclaim the farm status they once had. This estate was at some stage the largest citrus plantation in the Southern Hemisphere, with more than 3,000 hectares of planted citrus. Madam Speaker, talking to farmers across the province, some in the corridors, it is clear to me that they have a single and strong visionary management in the department and 2 research centers. One that will be allowing the province to keep its standards and transform the potential of this sector into reality, better lives for their families. There are many challenges that can and should be addressed in the province and agricultural sector. This includes lack of access to finance inhibits the adoption of new technology or constrains innovation. Hence, supply chain takes long to procure essential equipment in Mara Research Council. Lack of access to information, training, and knowledge hinders business expansion and new investments. All the time, the department is encouraged to capacitate the supply chain management section to ensure that there are no delays in the processing of the procurement and contracts in general. Members, we have envisaged a bright future to agricultural and rural communities in the future, provided that we take wise steps today, guided by both National Development Plan and the public policy. As I come to a close, I would have closed long time ago if there was no protest by the ever protesting Honorable Soshoka. As I come to a close, I want to take my mental and spiritual flight to the continent of my birth, Africa, and remind this House that Africa is our beginning and our ending. We owe a debt of gratitude to our forefathers and foremothers of our planet Earth to this continent. And so, honorable members, our contribution to the development of our agrarian innovations should rid our whole land of famine. Therefore, members, let us constantly be reminded of the role and responsibility that needs to be undertaken by all of us and the department. In this news, the committee have attempted to provide a non-partisan agenda of ideas that can take us to a proper and correct direction.
1 minute left.
I thank you before Honorable Shoga can protest. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Acting Chair. We shall now call upon the Honorable MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development to respond to the debate.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier in absentia, Honorable members, Honorable Chief Whip, and the Deputy Chief Whip. Yesterday was World AIDS Day. We are glad that our government is taking the AIDS pandemic seriously. Honorable Speaker, as a department, we are impressed that there is a progress. We are aware that there are delays by contractors in completing projects. The House must be assured that there will be penalties. Together with the National Department, we shall try by all means to assist farmers in acquiring water rights. As a department, we must assure the House that we shall never use COVID-19 as the excuse of failing to achieve some targets. The Portfolio Committee and the House will be regularly briefed on the punitive measures to officials who have performed below par. On the issue of projects, as the department, we are aware of the serious challenges faced by the NOJEX project. We shall together with the Treasury Institute a forensic investigation as a matter of extreme agency. As part of accountability, we shall definitely supply the committee with a total investment of the project, and together with leader, we are busy with plans to purchase the land. Raleputo Vegetable Cooperative. We are proud of the cooperative, which is led by a woman. We shall assist them to explore the possibility of using solar panels so as to reduce electricity costs. We shall also assist in the drilling of boreholes. Green Vegetable Project. The delay of contract in building shade is a cause of concern to us. Also, in this regards, we shall supply with a list of penalties. We are aware that majority of contractors are from outside the province, which is a cause of concern. Mabundas and Masalal Citrus Farm. Together with Mabunda Company, we shall make sure that they should not rely on strategic partners. We shall liaise. Follow committee should be updated regularly. Honorable Speaker, once more, I need to thank members for the oversight, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, for the response. Thank you very much. We shall now move to item 7.3, consideration and adoption of the following report of the Portfolio Committee on Court Staff. Committee Chair.
Thanks very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I, Mokgadi Joanna Phiri, as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Coxstar, present a report of the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance, Human Settlement and Traditional Affairs on oversight visits to Marapong Residential Units Project in Lephalale, Military Veterans Housing Unit at all days in Bloemberg, low-cost housing units at Ramameja in Maruleng, and Mogashwa Ditlabaneng Traditional Council offices at Makudutamaga municipalities for consideration and adoption by this August House. I so move, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Appeal. Any seconder? Honorable Mate. Violet.
Thanks, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the move made by Honorable Joanna Phiri to consider and adopt all the oversight reports that they took as the committee. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mate. And then we shall now refer to our speakers list. The first speaker on our list is Honorable Machadi.
Madam Speaker, Mayor Molapo, the Premier, Honorable Premier Ndate Chupuma Tabata in absentia, Deputy Speaker Bondo, Chair of Chairs in absentia, Deputy Chair of Chairs, that is Slane, Chief Whip of the Legislature, Dr. Mukonyana, members of the Executive Council present, honorable members of the August House, together with the honorable members who are joining us on virtual place. I once more bless you this morning. Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate for the opportunity given to me to debate on behalf of the Portfolio Committee of Coxstar about the oversight visit which has taken place in various areas of the province. Madam Speaker, Legislature Committee are established as instruments of the House in terms of the Constitution to facilitate oversight and monitor the provincial government. This committee are engine rooms of legislature oversight and legislative work. The Constitution states that the legislature is elected to represent the people and to ensure government by the people under the Constitution. The Portfolio Committee of Coxstar performs oversight by ensuring that executive authority, members of executive of the department are able to ensure that they are accounting to the Portfolio Committee for service delivery, which takes place so that all citizens can live a better quality life. Members, the Portfolio Committee performed an oversight visit to Marapong Residential House Project under Lephalale local municipality. Went to military veterans housing in old days under Bloemberg local municipality, low-cost housing project at Ramameja under Maruleng local municipality, and the Tlabaneng Traditional Council office at Makudutamaga municipality. Madam Speaker, the Freedom Charter stated that
there shall be houses for all citizens, in particular the poor people who are in need of shelter, who are previously marginalized. Our people must find comfort in those houses provided by the government of the new democratic dispensation. The aim of the Freedom Charter is to answer the pressing and immediate needs and lay the indispensable basis for the aspiration of poor people. The housing project at Marabong does not make the poor people of Marabong to believe that their expectation would be realized. The department must act swiftly and promptly in ensuring that the project is brought to life and meet our people's expectation in terms of service delivery. Madam Speaker, the project was started in December 2016, and to date, no single housing unit is occupied. The department planned to build 350 housing units. The department reported continuous stoppage of the project by workers, non-payment of subcontractors by the main contractor. The committee noted that there was no proper planning of the Marabong CRU, hence no bulk water supply and sewage system as part of the structural plans. The condition of the land where the structure is erected is sandy, meaning it's a movable area. The foundation doesn't stand properly. Madam Speaker, the committee is concerned that a huge amount of money will be a fruitless and wasteful expenditure. And going forward, the department might come back and request more funds for the project. It was reported by Housing Development Agency at Lephalale local municipality together that most of the material to the amount of 9 million was stolen due to non-availability of security on the site. The municipality reported that the fact that the project does not come to completion brings them a loggerhead with community at Marabong. Madam Speaker, the committee reports to the House that during the engagement with the Housing Development Agency, 3 councillors, including the ward councillor, were present in the briefing. The municipality expressed their disappointment on the involvement of the Housing Development Agency by the department. The municipality further suggested that the department should remove HDA as the implementing agents and directly implement the project. This was mentioned with the background that Housing Development Agency made several promises to the community of Marabong and the Lephalale local municipality, and nothing was fulfilled until the oversight visit by the Portfolio Committee. Honorable members, though observations during the engagement with the HDA, the committee proposed, in addition to other recommendations, that if project is not completed, money must be recovered. There must be a thorough financial and cost analysis of that project. Contractor must be held accountable for the damages caused, even though the HDA is appointed as the implementing agent. The department is held accountable. Why? Because the department never gave the HDA the latitude to employ the contractor. The department employed the contractor on behalf of HDA. HDA has not capacity to implement the projects. The committee advised the department that the situation at Marabong must be tenable and the project be completed. Honorable Speaker, history is not just an account of past events. It is also an interpretation of those events and developments. It underpins our identities and individuals as societies and as nation. It is for this reason that history is deeply political. How people understand their past determinations, to a large extent, how they understand themselves, their role in the world, and the nature of the challenges, said John Tompkins and Mary Key Bailey. The committee agrees that the role played by our chiefs in the struggle for resistance against apartheid should not be undermined. It is undesirable that the department allow the contractor to abandon the project of the Tabaneng in Sekhukhune while it was near completion. The committee noted that durability of the structure already built will be compromised if it stays longer. The department must account why the project is not completed. The contractor must also be held accountable. Honorable Speaker, the committee is satisfied with the housing units at Hamameja. Well done by our department, and keep up the momentum, which ensuring that the poor benefits from our government, and our government remains solid in giving service delivery to our people. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, the committee recommends that the department must come and account as the contractor he is giving extra money every year while the project is not completed and he is not on the site. And ensuring that the poor of the poorest in Marapo benefit from our government. Madam Speaker, I support the move of the adoption of the Portfolio Committee Oversight Report as presented by the chairperson of the committee, Dodi War.
Thank you, Honorable Muchadi. Honorable Shogun.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and greetings once more to the colleagues. Honorable Speaker, the EFF government will provide a quality house, spacious houses to all the people, and these houses will be located within a sustainable human settlement with basic services such as water, electricity, sanitation, schools, shopping complex, sports and recreational grounds, and parks. The above commitment from the EFF lacks in almost all the housing development that the ANC government has embarked on. A clear example is Extension 133 in Seshuk, wherein even a double bed cannot fit in the house. On Marapon development, what action has been taken against those who paid 333 million before commencement of this project? Now that the ANC government is intending to close most of power stations, how will the revenue be collected as workers will be unemployed or they will be forced to return back to their respective homes? The department must find a way of engaging in projects without HDA, which was part of the corruption scheme at Talani and other areas. HDA is the same state entity which illegally awarded Talana projects which was overpriced to a company which faked tax matters and CIBD's compliance. All this were ignored because HDA officials are friends and are drinking with the owners of the illegally awarded company. In the next sitting, we want the report as to who is arrested and who has been fired when the project at Marapon and when the project of Marapon will be completed. The contractor must be blacklisted with immediate effect. A breakdown of how monies were spent must be availed to this House in the next sitting, including memorandum of understanding. Honorable Speaker, it is only one house in Blowback for military veterans that was constructed. Now the question is, how many houses were planned for this area? We submit that the MEC provide a report on these military veteran houses in the next sitting for the entire province. The people must know who are these people and their struggle credentials of being exiled. Lately, there are some young fellows in the ANC who call themselves MK veterans, and yet most of them are freeborns. They were born after the dawn of democracy, but they still call themselves MK veterans. All these people are these people who are being allocated house by state, rewarding them for being MK members during the struggle. When will Mrs. Shokwane, who stays at Hamamicha in Maruleng with his 8 kids accommodated by a daughter, will she get her own house of RDP? She's amongst many residents who applied for houses many years and are denied due to corruption. The house of Ms. Shokwane must have all facilities which are friendly to disabled persons. Honorable Speaker, it's an insult to the real houses of Ditlabianing at Ramrasha that the government failed to complete the traditional council office in time and that the site has been left for thugs. This house must apologize to the traditional council and serious action must be taken against those who are involved in this mess. The department must further update on any other construction project which are undertaken, and such information must include the name of the contractor value, up-to-date work progress, and original completion date. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, the department must further establish a list of all people who have been registering on the housing list and their names vanished for whatever reason, and these people must be given their houses. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Smith.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. To quote Aristotle, the mistake lies in the beginning. Well, begun is half done, so an error at the beginning, though quite small, has the proportion of a half to the whole matter, unquote. Section 7 of the Public Finance Management Act required National Treasury to prescribe a framework for cash management, and this is done by a way of the Treasury regulations. Section 38 of the PFMA obliged accounting officers of state departments to ensure that departments or its entity set up and maintain effective, efficient, and transparent systems of financial and risk management and internal controls. And the accounting officer would be responsible for effective, efficient, economical, and transparent use of the resources of the entity and must take appropriate and effective steps to manage all working capital efficiently and economically. The issue of prepayments or advance payments followed set out from Section 7.1 of the PFMA. We said that National Treasury must prescribe the framework for these cash management. Further, Chapter 15 of these Treasury regulations covered, amongst others, the issues of these prepayments. Paragraph 1510(1)(2)(c) said that cash management includes avoiding prepayments or payments in advance for goods or services. The principle was that the services of these goods should have been received before payments are made. It is at this backdrop, Honorable Speaker, that the 33 million rand advance payment at the Marapong housing unit in Lephalale must be questioned. This project commenced in 2016 and is yet to be finalized. Apart from the awarding of the finances, vandalism and theft are just a few of the problems experienced for this project not to be completed. Limpopo residents across the province are in desperate need of dignified housing, while some residing in hostels and informal settlements continue to live in inhumane and appalling conditions due to the department's failure to complete these projects and spend its allocated budgets for housing. Many people have been on the housing waiting list for years, while still no guarantee on whether they will be allocated houses. We therefore seek that the department appoints a forensic investigator and well as to enforce the legislation, as I stated above, and to hold the relevant officials also accountable for their failure in holding contractors accountable, but also to play their oversight role in making sure that government's money is well spent. Oversight visits to Dekating traditional council officers showed that the infrastructure project was only running for a period of 1 month when the contractor abandoned it. A full report on the expenditure and reasons to why the project collapsed is needed. Kamecha 100 housing units were built to specification and handed over to the relevant beneficiaries. The department should be applauded in that regard. From the oversight visits, it's clear that the department continuously failed to implement and follow Treasury regulations. The Public Finance Management Act requires all accounting officers to have a system of properly evaluating and monitoring capital projects. The standard of infrastructure procurement and delivery management, known as SIPDM, sets out a control framework for infrastructure planning and delivery by prescribed the minimum standards for a concept note, pre-feasibility, or a feasibility report. The failing of reporting on failed projects or to act and the reckless behavior by the department to pay for services providers for work not done constitute an offence and therefore requires action to be taken. As I conclude, Honourable Speaker, money is being squandered on abandoned projects without impunity. Instead, this department needs to show some empathy and care about our residents' dire needs for dignified housing. And therefore, we ask the MEC to start acting against those officials that were responsible for these failed projects.
Thank you, Honorable Usman. Honorable Appeal, Committee Chair. Once more, thanks, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, we undertook the visit, and that visit was undertaken as an obligation by the committee mandated by the provincial organ of the state. The purpose of the oversight and other projects implemented by the department. The oversight also meant to check whether they were built according to specifications and whether there was value for money. On arrival in Lephalale, Marapon location, firstly, we held a briefing with the representative from the Lephalale municipality and the Housing Development Agency, which is appointed by Coxstar as an implementing agent. The committee reports to the House that the purpose and intentions for construction of Marapong Community Residential Unit is good despite the challenges it faces. Site handover was done on December 2016 with construction period of 24 months as per the tender. The needs to address housing challenges in Marapong. Honorable Speaker, the committee was also briefed that the contractor was paid
33 million in advance to kickstart the project. Since the dawn of democracy, Honorable Speaker, with a project of that magnitude, supply chain management regulations are clear that a contractor should possess the skills, experience, and capital to start and complete the project without stoppages. Madam Speaker, the committee also learned that the contractor appointed subcontractors to perform certain duties. The project has been stalled on numerous occasions, allegedly due to non-payment of the subcontractors. The project is one of the biggest delivery this government in the Lephalale local municipality, and that will be a long-standing legacy for human settlement, Madam Speaker. It does not augur well, Madam Speaker, for the committee to report to this August House that to date in that project, 42 units are complete and awaiting bulk services connection for final commissioning and handover. Some units are at roof level, some at wall place, and others waiting for floor slabs. There are 94 units that have not been touched. The contractor has abandoned the project and has left the site. The contracted security has left the site as well, making way the property to be vandalized. Window panes on a number of completed vacant blocks have been smashed. Doors which were hanged have been striped and stolen. Floor tiles removed. Light fittings and switches installed, etc., Madam Speaker. There was contradiction of information provided by the Housing Development Agency and Lephalale local municipality on the project, which also differs from the information provided to us by the department. Department could have taken action on completed housing units and allocate them to beneficiaries to prevent vandalism. But lack of bulk services made it impossible for completed units to be occupied as an attempt to avoid invasion or vandalism. These bulk services were not planned for when the project was conceived. Madam Speaker, that project should not be left unattended without corrective measures. The committee recommends to the House that all recommendations proposed by the committee must be implemented to correct the situation of Marapo. In addition, Madam Speaker, action should be taken against officials, as other members has already alluded to, found to be involved in the advance payment made to the contractor as well as the dereliction of duties with regard to monitoring of the Marapung project. There is a greater likelihood that prices will escalate for the project to be completed. The department must provide a detailed report to clarify the number of housing units built for military veterans, the names of those military veterans identified, and the clear location of those housing units. The committee commend the department on the rural and urban housing units built at Ramameja. The units are complete and occupied and meet the expectations of the beneficiaries. We are not just complaining where there are the good story to tell. We do that, Madam Speaker. However, the department must investigate how a wheelchair-bound woman, Mrs. Swancho Salisa Shokani, could not be allocated a house. She stays in the house with her 8 children. A house was built for her daughter, doesn't belong to her. Honorable Speaker, it will be desirable that recommendations proposed by the committee on the same projects with regard to the other project, stalled traditional council offices of Mogashwa Dikakaneng be implemented. The committee noted that if not attended to urgently, money spent on that project will be fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Furthermore, it should be included in the monthly reports to the Treasury MEC, and the amounts involved should be disclosed in the annual reports. The extension and appointment of a new service provider will have an impact on the cost of the project. The committee requests a detailed report regarding the stalled projects of Mogashwa Ditlhakanen Traditional Authority and the Marapong, as well as all the reports that we have made mentioned on the report as attached on the ATC, Madam Speaker. The committee supports the adoption as already requested for this House to adopt. We emphasize that the House adopts the report as presented. Thanks.
Thanks, Honorable Committee Chair, Honorable Apiri. Thanks very much. We shall now call upon the Honorable MAC to come and respond.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and good morning, good afternoon to colleagues and those who are on the hybrid. Honorable members, before, Madam Speaker, how much time do I have? Because I've noted each and every debate that the honorable members had.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, I'll just go to the conclusion. Honorable members, I think we have noted all the reports as presented by the chairperson and members. It is true that in terms of this government, not only of Premier Chupu Stanley Matabata, but also the government of President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, we have made a commitment that we want to improve the lives of our people. And that is why we want on each and every year to allocate money to be able to do that. Yes, of course, as you are working, like if you are sitting down and not doing anything, you'll not be bound to mistakes. But as you are working, you are bound to make mistakes. The good thing is you make mistake and you are able to rectify them. So as this Department of COGTA will continue to do our best. I had colleagues talking about working with traditional leaders. I think you know that the MEC for COGTA, Honorable Baskop Makam, is always attending the issues of our traditional leaders. Even he went with the Deputy President to meet with them in Malamulele. So we'll continue to engage them about the issues that we've raised and then make sure that we don't have that challenge. In terms of the financial management, Honorable Smale, I agree with you, but also as the department, you know that we got an unqualified report because we always try as much as possible to improve our financial management. Is in the interest of the department, but also in the interest of the whole government to be able to do that. And yes, we agree that we need to take care of our finances little as they are. That is why we have also taken a decision that taking advantage of the recent local government elections will make sure that people that we hire at the municipality level have requisite skills and also relevant qualification. Those who are not, but inside the system, will make sure that we develop and train them so that they can be able to discharge their responsibilities. And yes, I agree with you, Chairperson. We need to do more of the monitoring and oversight and make sure that if there is a challenge, we correct it immediately. We don't wait for so many years to do that. And I can also assure this House that we are going to work with the state security institutions to make sure that those who have violated the financial regulations will be able to deal with them and let the law take its course. Like the situation at Talani, for sure you know that the company there, the directors have been arrested. So we are really on course and doing that. As we said also with the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure, where the department stopped the contractor because he did the shoddy job. Also in the Department of Education, we stopped 2 contractors because they were doing shoddy job. So this government of Premier Chukuma Tabata is really striving so hard to improve our people's life, but also to take care of our rent and sign so that our people can be able to benefit and have a better life as we promise. Those in government in waiting, when they come in 2060, they would not have to go through what we went through after going so many years under apartheid, trying to deal with the backlog. So it is not easy. At least they would have come when the ANC has done everything in their power to make sure our people are okay. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC, for the response. We shall now move to item 8, SNAP debate on 18 days of activism for no violence against women and children. Our first speaker is Honorable MEC Nkakaren Rakwale.
In the villages. Honorable Speaker, Chief Whip of the Majority Party, the Deputy Chief Whip, Mrs. Present here, the leadership of the Opposition Party, the august members of the House, all protocol observed, good afternoon. Tovela Abusheni Masiare. Today we find ourselves in the middle of this year's observations of 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children campaign. The 16 days of activism is a United Nations campaign which take place annually from the 25th of November, which was commemorated as International Day of No Violence Against Women and Children, to 10th of December, which is International Human Rights Day. Incidentally, World AIDS Day on 1st December and International Day for Persons with Disabilities on the 3rd of December also falls within these 16 days. It actually makes perfect sense to proactively use this time before the festive season to place focus on vulnerable groups and individuals, those who might be facing a dark festive season as their living conditions may very well be tainted by violence, illness, and oppression. Honorable Speaker, this year's 16 days campaign is commemorated under the theme, as I quote, the year of Charlotte Maxeke, 16 days of activism, moving from awareness to accountability. The year 2021 has also been declared the year of Charlotte Manya Maxeke. She was among the freedom fighters who wanted to see the total emancipation of women and the realization of a truly democratic South Africa. Mama Maxeke wanted to see that our people are safe irrespective of race, culture, and gender. The safety of women and children and justice restoration in general occupied a special space in her heart as she worked as a probation officer many years ago. The recent police statistics on contact crimes as released by Minister Bheki Cele paints a very grim picture of what kind of a society we are slowly turning into. As the Department of Social Development, we are deeply concerned over the increased number of rape cases that have been recorded at 30 police stations across the country. It is very unacceptable
that about 1,000 women were raped in a period of 3 months. The figure represents an increase of 634 cases or 7.1% compared to the previous reporting period. Honorable Kala revealed that the police stations recording the most incident were Temba Police Station in Gauteng, the Thohoyandou Police Station here in Limpopo, the Eastern Cape's Lusikisiki Police Station, and the Inanda Police Station in KwaZulu-Natal during July and September this year. Let me indicate that the increased number can also be attributed to the fact that many victims are heeding the department's call for them to break the silence when they are violated. This must, however, not deter our officials from the police, NPA, social workers, our NPO partners, and other relevant stakeholders to continue working very hard to create awareness and offer support to the victims of gender-based violence and femicide. We also urge our people to have improved relations with each other and learn to respect each other's rights and understand that no means no. We must therefore utilize the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children to come up with vigorous awareness campaigns. Honorable Speaker, while pervasive gender-based violence is not inevitable, it can and must be prevented. Stopping this violence starts with believing the stories of survivors, adopting comprehensive and inclusive approaches that tackles the root causes, transforming harmful social ills, and empowering women and girls. The fact that President Cyril Ramaphosa declared gender-based violence and femicide a second pandemic to COVID-19 is an indication that government is determined to see a drastic reduction in gender-based violence. In addition to the implementation of the emergency response action plans on gender-based violence and femicide, which was announced by the President in September 2019, all relevant government departments and other entities need to make more resources available in order to come up with more programs, children, and teaching them their rights. This will also augment our support to the NPO partners that are assisting us in the fight against the scourge, as well as giving all the victims through victim empowerment programs. Honorable Speaker, we must all be active in our homes and practices that perpetuate gender inequalities and non-governmental organizations, faith-based organizations, and communities. Honorable Speaker, crime and social ills pose a serious threat to the stability and even the progress of the province, and has the potential to reverse all the gains achieved through the sacrifices of so many people, if left unchallenged. We know that there are some communities that remain ignorant to dangers that social ills pose to individuals and families. Honorable Speaker, we will continue our multifaceted approach and cooperation between the Department of Social Development and Transport and Community Safety, our agencies, non-profit organizations, action groups, and more to have these social ills rooted out. However, it starts with empowering our communities with knowledge and willingness to address these ills themselves from grassroots level. We remain battle ready to create a caring, progressive, and self-reliant society. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mphahleni.
Thank you. Honorable. Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, honorable speaker, honorable MEC present, honorable members of this August House, and those who are attending with us through Teams. I say good afternoon. Mashiro. The Masiar. Thank you for the correction. Honorable Speaker, there is no activism on the side of government to viciously deal with the issue of gender-based violence in South Africa. Despite statistics on women and children abuse soaring on a daily basis,
nothing cogent is being done to address this madness in our society. The police and justice system are not doing enough to root out this illness. And as a result, women and children continue to live in fear in their own country. They continue to suffer in the hands of sick men who feels that only them have the right to live. While other groups in the society seems to enjoy the hard-earned fruits of democracy, they continue to be gripped by fear on a daily basis. They do not enjoy the much talked about freedom attained since the dawn of democracy. The EFF argues that until women and children are free to walk on the street without having to watch their back, we have not yet attained the freedom that is being talked about. Excuse me. What we need is the real freedom that ensures and protects the right of women and children in our country, and not this artificial freedom that we come to experience. The devastating impact of lockdown on the already severe gender-based violence issue has been exposed that the government's SDB and Femicide Command Center, a call center to support victims of GBV, recorded more than 120,000 victims in the first 3 weeks of the lockdowns. Just a week later in Pretoria, a similar call center was receiving up to 1,000 calls a day from women and children who were confined to abusive homes seeking urgent help. Prior to the pandemic, femicide in South Africa was already 5 times higher than the global average of the female interpersonal violence death rate. That was the 4th highest out of the 183 countries listed by the World Health Organization in 2016. Evidence have now emerged that suggested cases of violence against women are increasing. Just recently in Limpopo, more than 7 women were killed around Seshego by a man who lured them by promising them jobs that they do not exist, and this is because of lack of jobs. These women deserve to live like any other of us, and no one has the right to take away their lives. Even their maker will not abruptly and gruesomely take their lives like that. The death of these women left their families and communities devastated and pain that they feel will take long to heal. Is this the kind of society we fought for so hard and aspired to attain, where women and children are killed on a daily basis? Just recent, there is a rise in kidnapping of children on their way to school in exchange of ransom. The Mutu brothers, who were kidnapped for 3 weeks while on their way to school, come to mind, and thank God they were released and all of them are alive. But many of these children who have been kidnapped on a daily basis may not be as lucky as they are. They are killed and their bodies found mutilated in the bushes. The Social Development Department in Limpopo handled 673 cases since lockdown. Just more than 480 were registered in August alone, when the country celebrated Women's Month. Recent incident, as reported by the SABC News in 2020, include the killing of a 20-year-old TVET college student, Kaurelo Shai, whose partially decomposed body was discovered in a dry stream at Mahunubuto village outside Zane. A 17-year-old teenager was allegedly killed by a 19-year-old boyfriend at Ramadiva outside Mukopane, and the incident left the family distorted. In another incident, a 33-year-old Elizabeth Jane was found with multiple step wounds on her home on Sunday at Strekfontein near Groblersdal. Excuse me. 22-year-old Grace Mudau of Mahusha village outside Toyando also lost her life allegedly at the hands of her boyfriend. Honorable Speaker, sadly, this is just a few examples. List goes on and on. Unfortunately, we are not reporting about the employment rate statistic and the reduction of poverty and inequality in our country. Furthermore, we are not celebrating positive strides on the fight against corruption and maladministration. We are reporting about women and children who continue to lose their lives on a daily basis in the hands of the bloody-thirsty vampires. What is this government doing to improve confidence in our communities, in the police, to deal with GBVs? For instance, like the case of Bridget Magavan in Begersford, who was killed in 2018. To date, it's about 4 years ago, nothing has come to a light. Are the police implementing the Domestic Violence Act? Yes, what is this number of GBV increasing? What is happening in this country is a disgrace and a shameful. Clearly, there is no political will to address this cancer that is ravaging our society on a daily basis. The EFF demands that harsher sentences meted out on men who abuse women, and the case of their prison cell must be thrown away. These men, they deserve to rot in jail. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mpakel. Honorable Pala.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as the Limpopo Legislature, we should be deeply concerned by the high number of sexual offences and domestic violence-related offences registered at the start of the commemoration of 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children. It is ironic that the theme for 2021 is the year of Charlotte Maya Matreke, 16 days of activism, moving from awareness to accountability. Because the Limpopo provincial government has still not taken up enough responsibility in addressing the scourge of violence against women in the province. The province is currently losing the battle on violence against children and women and the 21-22 South African Police Service second quarter crime statistics for Limpopo paint a bleak picture. Limpopo recorded a total of 1,004 sexual offences, with rape, sexual assault and attempted sexual offences increasing from the 2021 second quarter stats. There were 834 rape cases, which is a 4.5% increase, 108 sexual assault cases, which is 33.3% increase, 54 attempted sexual offences, which is 31.7% increase, and 8 cases of contact sexual offences. The statistics also show that domestic violence continues to be a serious societal issue. The province recorded 5 attempted murder cases, 8 murder cases, 18 rape cases, 6 sexual assault cases, 232 assault, grievous bodily harm cases, and 354 common assault cases as domestic violence-related crimes. Limpopo had 3 police stations, namely Toyando, Mankweng, and Seshewa, ranked in the top 30 stations nationwide for sexual offences, with Toyando ranked 3rd, Mankweng 9, Seshewa ranked 11. The province also has the same 3 stations in the country's top 30 stations for rape offences. Toyando is ranked 2nd with 69 cases, Seshewa ranked 10 with 44 cases, and Mankweng 13 with 42 cases. It is unacceptable that these 3 police stations are recurring feature on the country's top 30 sexual offences and rape lists quarter after quarter. This highlights a lack of support and resources at these stations to improve their response against perpetrators of sexual offences. Despite this serious issue, the Quality of Life Committee of this House Oversight Visits proved that the province still has victim empowerment centres that are mismanaged, under-resourced and underfunded. The centres are meant to play a central role in the prevention of domestic violence, the provision of victim empowerment programs, counseling services, and provision of shelter for victims of abuse. The sustained large numbers of sexual offences proves that the SAPS in the province and Limpopo provincial government are still not doing enough to keep women safe in their communities. There is a need for a concerted effort and greater resources to address the high numbers of sexual offences and domestic violence. As a legislature, we must be committed to ensure that the provincial government addresses the current culture of abuse towards women and, more importantly, address toxic masculinity and other behaviors that negatively impact women in our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Palan. The last speaker on the topic, Honorable Mugawa, Uganda.
Honorable Speaker, Chief Whip, honorable members present here and those on virtual, MECs present here, good afternoon. This year marks 23 years since the United Nations adopted the 16 Days of Activism campaign for no violence against women and children. The debate is important for us to reflect on progress we have made and the challenges we continue to face in building a safe society free from fear and violence. Ending the scourge of violence against women and children remains a top priority of this government. Colleagues, the campaign on 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children is a very important period on our event calendar and proves that we are united with the rest of the world in combating the scourge. Violence against women and children must come to an end. Together we can and must do more to prevent violence against women, provide services to survivors, and ensure that perpetrators are punished. The campaign is aimed to unite communities and families to ensure that men stop abusing women, respect women and children, ensure tough action against perpetrators, empower young women and children, ensure a better life for people, to create a violence-free society, recruit men and boys as active members of the campaign. The campaign continues to raise awareness among South Africans about negative impact of violence against women and children on all members of the communities. On health facilities, Madam Speaker, the gender-based violence reflects inequities between men and women and compromises the health, dignity, integrity, security, and autonomy of its victims. It encompasses a wide range of human rights violations, including sexual abuse of children, rape, domestic violence, sexual assault and harassment, trafficking of women and girls, and several harmful traditional practices. Any one of these abuses can have deep psychological scars, damage the health of women and girls, particularly their productive and sexual health, and in most instances result in death. Other widespread forms of violence in some African countries include systematic rape used as a weapon of war, leaving millions of women and adolescent girls traumatized, possibly impregnated or infected with HIV/AIDS. As we entered the World AIDS Month yesterday, we must not shy away from the fact that most affected are women, and much are as a result by abuse. on women and gender. Women's equity of life the world over, and particularly in South Africa, has long been observed and curtailed by the balance of social power, which is tilted in favor of males. The alarming statistics on femicide, rape, and domestic violence demonstrate these unprecedented levels. According to South Africa's 2021 Demographic and Health Survey, 1 in 5 women older than 18 has experienced physical violence. This figure is reportedly higher in the poorest household, where at least 1 in 3 women has reported physical violence. Members, the continuous slaughtering of women won't go unnoticed. I'm saying this pointing out the continuous cases reported daily. COVID-19 lockdown shows that there's serious need to embark on gender-based violence daily. Madam Speaker, we mark the 16 days of activism campaign not only to raise awareness about the negative impact violence has on women and children, but most importantly to take a decisive stance against the abuse of women and children. Let us say no to violence against women and children. Let us say no to rape. Let us say no to human trafficking. Let us ensure the perpetrators of these crimes are punished by our courts. We believe that through the collective efforts of government, civil society organizations, and the business sector working together, we can broaden the impact of the campaign. By supporting this campaign, thousands of South Africans has also helped to increase awareness of abuse and build support for victims and survivors of abuse. On building capabilities, the domestic violence in South Africa is culturally deep-rooted and can be traced to the apartheid era. As South Africa begins to rebuild following the COVID-19 pandemic, grassroots activities in the country are hoping to see a renewed commitment to tracking GBV. Ultimately, it remains to be seen whether or not the government will push through any further plans of action and aimed at reducing instances of GB within the country. 2021 has proved to be a decisive year of South Africa as it emerged from the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as an ongoing women's rights crisis. On prevention and response, much of our efforts as South Africans has to be focused on response. However, our response effort needs to be supported and implemented by prevention programs and policy development. By addressing the underlying interlinked cause of GBV, we can work towards preventing it from helping in the first place. While Limpopo has a high level of GBV, we must also lead in the field of prevention, intervention in low and middle income regions. We need to identify models which works to respond to, and to prevent violence, and we can work on scaling those up to reach more people. At the same time, as a society, we can work together to find new ways to address GBV, building the current evidence base and responding to this national crisis. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, we must be worried about what has happened in our psyche as a society. We need to integrate values of Ubuntu with our democratic values. These values must be reflected into our action. We need a discourse on the destruction of our cultural norms. Freedom will be meaningless if women and children cannot walk freely in our street. Freedom will be meaningless if our children cannot play freely in their neighborhood. Freedom will be meaningless if the home is no longer a safe place to be for women and children. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mugaba Pukani. We are now on item 9, announcement. The announcement that I've made earlier on when we started with our city will stand. After we adjourn, we'll have 5 minutes break for members to stretch their legs, and maybe also to advise honorable members who are attending via visuals not to disconnect. They should continue connecting so that immediately after we adjourn, we proceed with our second session. And we could see that our guests are already arrived. So after adjournment, we'll proceed. The House is adjourned to Tuesday, the 7th December 2021 at 10, and it will be hybrid. Thank you.
5 minutes. I can go out.